So yeah, so official warm welcome. Hello, hello. Open up to abundance, our beautiful session with Mike from Money Like Mike. And my name is Pavla. And yeah, we are really excited to share two sides of the story, if you say it this way. Money for many people, what I feel, can be a bit of a taboo to talk about as well. And there might be a lot of different reasons why the abundance is not flowing freely into our reality. Yeah, and Mike has this beautiful how would I describe it? Practical knowledge and point of view, like the physical, tangible, let's say. Is it the right description? I'm not sure. And I'm coming more from the from the energetic field and what might be possibly happening from the core of our beginning. So it will be a pretty interesting conversation I guess. You guys are all invited, please, to jump in and ask any questions you might have. And yeah, Mike, how are we going to run this beautiful session today? Why don't you?
So whenever anyone has a question or they want to just raise their hand and just we'll stop, we'll pause, let you speak, take yourself off mute, let you speak and jump in. And we'll just address it from either Pavla's side, my side, or both. So yeah, that's how we're going to run today, with talking about abundance. And I think Pavla's now going to lead us through a grounding exercise or breathing exercise, just to get everyone here focused in the present.
Yay, beautiful. So we are tuning from different places, and you know, some of us might never met before. It's just always beautiful to start a group session with few breaths and just tapping into this beautiful collective energy. So I would invite you all to close your eyes for a moment. Let's start with that. Just make yourself comfortable, feel comfortable in your own body. And let's take a few deep breaths all the way into the belly. Nice, juicy in-breath into the belly. And as you are breathing out, just allow the air go through your throat, open your mouth and exhale through your mouth. Inhaling into your belly, nice, deep, juicy breath. Exhaling, letting go any of the hustle and the bustle of the day, any stresses, any experiences that didn't serve you. Just feel it all leaving your body. One big juicy breath into your belly. And just exhale. From this beautiful place, what's the intention of having open mind? Receive what you are here to receive. Share your insights. Feel comfortable in this space of beautiful people who are looking for answers, are keen to learn new things, and essentially would like maybe something different in the current reality. Let's just meet each other with understanding, respect, and let's have fun as we go as well. Let's just feel that we are all good friends, hanging around our kitchen table, sharing some beautiful wisdom, life experiences, and knowledge. When you are ready, one more big breath into your heart. Hold it there for a moment. And when you can, exhale. And let's get the party started. Welcome, Kartik. Great to have you here with us as well. So that feels good, yeah? It feels good to breathe. And it's maybe often one of the things we forget. One of the easiest things to do, and one of those, but we forget very often in life, just to take deep breaths and ground. So now I feel you all. It's beautiful. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Mike, let's start with little introductions. Who is this gorgeous man sitting over here? What do you do? What can you tell us about you?
Thank you, Pavla. Thank you. And thank you for that exercise. I really appreciate that. So I'm Mike. Money Like Mike is my company that I've founded, and I'm a personal financial coach. And I want you to know why you're doing things with money. If it's in scarcity, we want to get out of that and move towards abundance. I want to teach you how to live on less than you make, not to go into debt and get out of debt if you are there, and to ultimately eventually build wealth. Because I have a heart of giving to single parents. That's just one of the things that's always really I've been drawn to. I also have a heart for building schools in Tanzania, which is in the works, and I'm planning to do that. And for everyone else on this call, we're all going to have different things that we want to give to, but it's hard to give when you're broke. So therefore, if we move out of the scarcity into the abundant side of things, not only does your life improve, such as if you want to think of it as a cup, your cup is now being filled, and the overflow of that can be given to others. But it's hard to do that again when you're broke. So that's what I teach, and get you out of that habit or program that you've been running for years, decades, potentially.
That is absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And guys, how many of you can resonate, with helping others and just somehow I feel our consciousness is shifting, and we are going from that look at me, it's to like a community, to what can we do for others, how can we serve, how can we contribute to this place to be a better world. So yeah, that so resonates. I can see the little smiles and shaking heads, so it's beautiful. So if I quickly share my side, I started originally, well, for I don't know, past 10-15 years I've been interested in health and reaching the bottom. That's usually how we get to learn. I got to taste the rock bottom to get to a peak health as I feel I have now. So I've been walking this path of healing, and I always thought it's the physical body that needs healing, and I was always very closely called to following. I'm from the Czech Republic, so we grew up with my grandparents picking up herbs and berries and drying it for winter and making like beautiful herbal teas. And I've always been drawn to Mother Nature and healing our bodies that way. But once I finished this beautiful course on iridology and sclerology, reading and learning the secrets of our ancestors, then I realized that there is more to disease than just eating good food and living good healthy lifestyle. I realized that unless we get into our hearts, we won't be able to. Sorry, I got distracted with people hopping on, but welcome. I realized unless we get into our hearts, we can, it doesn't matter what we eat, it doesn't matter how many yoga classes a week we do, we don't know who we truly are, then we are not going to make the choices that are fully supporting wellness. So I got into a practice called quantum flow, which is how I met this beautiful man, Karthik. And that provides exactly that, just bringing us into the heart, to changing our thought patterns, and rewiring the old stories that we all have in our brain. But then it got even deeper when we got into energy, and now I feel I've got the answers for the whole story and the full healing from the very core of what's happening. So many of you work with me, and you have heard this before, so you see what else can come from the repeated information. And for for those of you who haven't, I'll just try to be quick. As we are growing up as little humans, let's say from the age 0 to 7, it's 12 really, but let's call it 0 to 7, from conception to 7 years of age. Little bodies, our minds are absolutely on. So whatever our reality is going on for us, depending on which family we are born into, depending on the culture, on the religion, that's how we are starting to create kind of understanding of the world, and creating our own reality. So if I grow up in a beautiful, loving, warm, heart-opening family where everybody's supporting and loving each other, I will have a very different perception to the world as of someone who grew up with an abusive father, for example, where there was alcohol involved and fights and constant arguments and lack of stuff constantly. I will have a very different perception of the world coming from that. And as we are growing up, we are creating certain beliefs and patterns how we navigate life. And we all have heard of chakras, or the energetic centers that we have. They are very, very strong in regulating our reality and our energy in our personal body. So depending on the programming, on the experiences, we create our reality. And often why I felt really called to have this chat about abundance, about money, often if we as children don't feel safe in a first, let's say it's 0 to 12 years, 12 months, sorry, that's when the root chakra is being developed. That's the safety, that's the direct connection to mother. That's what, for a baby, that's what it represents for, right? Having the safe, warm arms. If we don't feel that as little children, if we feel threatened, if we don't feel the love, and that doesn't necessarily need to be shown towards the baby. It could be the parents, arguments between them, but the kid is in that environment, so it's directly affecting the way how we see world. So I went a bit longer than I thought, but does it make sense to you guys what I'm trying to explain? Yeah, so awesome, thank you. So from here, what is important to realize is that the way we roll in life is not our story. And it's in our power with the conscious mind and the energetic work that we can support it with. We can rewrite it and start again and create a perfect, beautiful world that we actually want to be living. So that's me done. Awesome. Yeah, I hope you are enjoying this.
Thank you, Pavla. Thank you. And if you guys see me looking down, I'm actually taking my own notes as well. I know I'm here to serve you, but I'm learning as we go. Like, I just want to share that and throw that out there. And one of the things that came up as Pavla was talking was, as kids, 0 to 7, 0 to 12, whatever it is for the individual, our habits are formed. So for me, to focus on the financial side of things, we are who we surround ourselves with, right? We form these habits from our parents or whoever raised us as kids. And I must say, I will share my story, meaning my parents did the best they could with the resources they had, but I learned how to handle money from them, and they must have learned it from their parents. And I didn't learn a lot. I more learned what not to do. And that took me a long time to realize. And I had to rewrite my story. It's never too late. You know, I was in my early 20s and I was able to rewrite that story. And it is nowhere near what I was when I was a kid and teenager and on. And for my parents, they can also rewrite their story because they're going to be 100% debt free this year. And that's awesome. And they're 60 years old, in their 60s. So it's never too late. And you can do this.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I guess the backstory for Mike and I, right? Was it last year this time? I think it was pretty much last year this time. I got introduced to Mike through a mutual friend of ours. And I was at the bottom of the bottoms, you know. I just left my marriage. I had absolutely no money. I made the worst financial decision of my life, which now understanding energy, I understand where it came from, all the acting on stress and survival instead of actually using common sense. That was very strongly operating. I had 5-year-old back then, 4-year-old child with me, and I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do? You know, family on the other side of the world. And I just knew that this is Mike. Mike is my way out, that I can be the victim and I don't know, live off Centrelink forever, or I can actually take responsibility and learn something new from someone who's done it before. And I had instant connection with Mike. And yeah, half an hour chat that took hour and a half, and we just really got to the bottom of it. And now I look like 12 months on and my reality changed in every single area of my life. So I think we are like a proven example that everything that we are kind of sharing here is working. And I feel so blessed to have come across to this beautiful man. Not only has been great mentor, but became a really beautiful family friend as well. So thank you, Mike.
Yes, thank you. And you're right. One of the things that I found in my journey is very similar, meaning you focused on health first and then finances came. Me, I was the opposite. I focused on finances and then health came, but it's all connected. And we as humans, we work on a momentum. And if that's, you can see the momentum, if there's emotional momentum, whatever that is. But once we get control in one area of our lives, other areas come in. Now we're talking about health and wealth right now, but it can be career, relationships, your home life. There's all these things that we're in. I guess what Pavla was saying, the chakras, everything's connected. And if you've gotten control in one area of your life and you feel out of control over here, related to finances, say your health isn't really good, but your finances are shit. You have the ability. You may not have the knowledge yet, and hopefully I'm here to serve you in that manner. But once you gain the tools, or once you gain the knowledge, you can use that because you already have the tools to know how to be in control. Beautiful. Does everyone understand that? Does that make sense? Beautiful. Beautiful.
And sorry, you can keep going.
No, go.
No, yeah, cool. So, and that's just leads us to abundance, right? What's the word? What does it mean? What does it represent to every single one of us? It's as we were mentioning in our sharings, in our newsletters and posts and stuff, it's not just the bank account. It's not just, you know, the investments. It's so much more. What does, if we were to hop in, what does abundance mean to you guys? Would you like to share? What is it representing for you? It was an interesting conversation.
I'll share, Pavla.
Yeah, please.
For me, abundance means just more than wealth and health. It can mean freedom, can mean like serving, contributing, you know, expansion in all areas of our life. Like, you know, your relationship can be freedom, can be, you know, yeah, just anything. Like there's no limit. Like it's just expanding that. That's what I believe in. Yeah, success, creating. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Party. Thank you. Anybody else? No?
Yeah, I'll go.
Yeah.
So if you think of, I guess it can be anything on a scale, like wealth or love or passion. At one end of the scale is lack, and in the middle of the scale is enough, and then the other end of the scale is more than enough. You have so much that it covers what you need, but you can also share it with others, and that's the point of abundance, is that having more than enough, that it just flows over.
Beautiful. You just said it amazingly well, Amanda. And yeah, that's the benchmark, right? That's with for so many people been just getting to that enough mark, and it's like, how do we go to the more than enough? And Mike, what's your take on that? What do you feel?
And so much comes right now. Like, I just want to throw everything at you guys, because we need to know individually, we all need to know this, and maybe that could be an action step for you today, is understanding your wants versus your needs. And we all have these, and our needs are usually met quite easily. Yeah? Especially if you go to the Philippines or Africa or somewhere else in the world. I mean, even in Australia or the US, you can go to areas and realize, shit, I have everything I need, right? We just need to know what that is for us. What is it that I need? Yeah. Let me give you what I term the 4 walls: food, clothing, shelter, and transportation. Those are the 4 things you need to do to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll do it again: food, clothing, shelter, and transportation, because you need some way to get to and from work to make money to continue to live the life that you need. Wants can be an iPhone or phone, whatever that is, fancier clothes, a new truck, a new house, bigger, better. But the problem that, hopefully this is a key takeaway for you, the problem is that once we think about these things and then we get that thing, let's say I get a new truck. I got that new truck. Now I need a bigger truck, right? We keep the line of wants versus needs keeps moving, and we have to stop doing that. You have to define what is enough for you, hit that, and then abundance comes. We can't continue to move this line. Yes, you can increase your abundance, right? You can have your enough, have a little bit of abundance, but then you can also absorb some of that abundance for taking care of yourself, your family, your future family. And then, like I mentioned before, like building schools in Africa and single parents, all of that also touches me. I get to learn that. So my life is enriched by the abundance that I continue to do. I'll give you a practical example of what my needs are. My needs for the current lifestyle that I live is $20,000 a year. $20,000 a year gets me to do whatever it is I want to do. Anything above that, I get to increase my lifestyle, but it's not a need. Those are wants. And we have to be clear and understand that. And if I move from $20,000 a year to $200,000 a year, then I am absorbing wants and I get to enrich my lifestyle along with others. So I give 10%. So abundance, I feel, is 10%. So if I give 10% of $20,000, that's $2,000 I get to enrich in other people's lives with. If I make $200,000, 10% of that is $20,000 I get to enrich other people's lives with. So I'll work on a percentage basis. Know what your wants are versus needs. So understand that. What is enough? And then 2, work on a percentage basis. Those are my 2 biggest takeaways, hopefully for you today, and go from there.
Beautiful, beautiful. The fairy godmother from the energy side of things, and my kind of point of view want to sneak in. I would say, from my learnings, from my teachings, from my wisdom, I would love to share, is to take responsibility would be number 1 thing, and just get out of the victim mode. Like, things are always happening to me. Look at me, the poor me. Or I'm like, fuck you all. I'm actually going to pull my big girl's pants on and take responsibility for what's going on. And I will have no more excuses. And I will choose right here and right now. Sorry, Pete, you get to hear that a lot. I will choose to create a better world for myself. And often, let's stick with that. I will go into the often after this. So choose to want better and get out of the victim, taking full responsibility for everything that is presently in your life right now, because it's the mirror, right? I'm getting shit. I'm getting, what is it showing me? What is it showing me? The empty bank account. What is it showing me? The relationships I have. What is it showing me? The food I feel to feed to myself. My health. What is it showing me? It's always the mirror effect. Take responsibility. Get out of the victim. Now, we are all about vibrations. And what's the intention for everything really, essentially, is to keep the highest vibration possible. How do we achieve that? The thoughts we think. Everything you put into your mouth, food, water, drinks, has a vibration. Do I go and pick up fresh strawberries from my little flower pots, or fresh passion fruit from the passion fruit vine, grow my own carrots, whatever it is, tomatoes? Or do I take a tin of, I don't know, baked beans from Woolies, or even worse, I think baked beans, you can still find some decent stuff out there, I don't know anymore, but you get me, right? Right? Like the living foods, living things give us higher vibration. Do I drink bottle of wine every night as opposed to having beautiful herbal tea before I go to bed? Vibration, that's affecting our energy instantly. And the thoughts. Am I loving towards myself? Am I loving towards others? Like, my intention every day for last year and a bit now is unconditional love. I want to show up in the world as unconditional love to everything and everyone, to all those scared people on the streets that just don't see the truth. And I could be frustrated and scream with like, but I love them and I send them compassion. My little child driving me bonkers because he wants every single thing on the planet when we go shopping, for example. I love him anyways, when he throws tantrums and goes crazy. I don't know, the people in the car behind you because you are driving too slow, or daydreaming on the traffic lights in the middle of Bell Street. That happened a few times, and I'll send them laugh when you are being beeped up and and hushed along. So that's all counting. It's all vibration. It's all energy. And if that would be my contribution to the takeaways, that that we can start now. That we can start now, and that will automatically will be rising the field you've got around you, and then that's what you attract. Forever we've been hearing law of attraction, yeah, that we attract what we. Well, in Czech we were always told that the opposite attracts, like the magnets, that the opposites kind of, but the truth is that the like attracts the like. So you give love, you get more love. You give anger, you get more anger. You are in the beautiful, I don't know, abundance giving state. You always get more coming back your way. So yes, this is my beautiful contribution to you. I hope it all makes sense.
It does.
We can start straight away.
And it does. I want to throw in as well, to piggyback off of that, is like attracts like. I heard the term. I grew up, the rich get richer and the poor gets poorer, whatever it is. It's because they do what rich people do. Everyone in this room can be wealthy if you do the habits that wealthy people do. We can all be healthy if we do the habits healthy people do. Poor people stay poor because they continue to do poor people stuff. That's why you hear lottery winners going broke, filing for bankruptcy. They haven't changed the habits. They just put more zeros and commas in their bank account.
And if I can talk to that, it beautifully ties up to the beginning. Somebody else is jumping in to the beginning of my explanations about energy and where we come from, right? So where do these habits come from? From our families, from where we came from, our home, our caretakers from the very early life. So how did your parents roll in life? Did they have their finances under control? Did you live a beautiful, abundant childhood where there was plenty for all? Or was the luck, as you were saying before, Amanda, was the just luck, never enough? We need to work hard to get something. Money is hard to get. Money is evil. All these things that are unconditional in our unconscious mind. Sorry, they are buried in our unconscious mind, and we need to change the story. We need to change the story, but we need to know what we are looking for. If I could give you a quick little example that for me was just freaking mind-blowing. I'm one of three, I'm a triplet. So when I was born, my mom had three little humans just trying to, attach themselves to her. And I was working on this abundance thing. I was working, okay, so why is there never enough? Or why do I think there is never enough? Why? Yeah, that benchmark always.
Very bored.
If you please could, yeah, thank you. There's Jessie too. Hi, Jessie. Why do I have these limitations? And I took myself on the journey, and what I realized, what was in my unconscious mind, buried so deep, I had this image of a baby, newborn baby, at mother's breast, and there wasn't enough milk. And from day 1 or 2 of my life, I already had this pattern happening. There's not enough. I don't deserve it. I'm always the last. And then it hit me. I'm like, this is not true. This is not my world. This is not how I want to live my life. But my mind was operating. My nervous system was operating according to these principles. And until I could really address it and I could get in touch with it and heal it, I wasn't able to move on. So yeah, I just felt it would be a great way to show you how powerful this work can be, how we can really get to a very core of these habits, of these poor people ways of doing things, because they often can be so unconscious.
Awesome. Thank you for the story. I actually didn't even know that you were a triplet. So thank you for sharing that.
Come on.
That's awesome. All right. I do want to open it up though to everyone here. Please unmute yourself or raise your hand and ask any questions that have come up for you, for Pavla or myself, or how things are going in your life.
How was the information we were sharing? Does everything make sense? Can you resonate with what you hear? Maybe let's start with that. Is there anything that needs more clarifying? No. Okay, beautiful. Well, Mike, we've got about 100 million thousand questions from your beautiful forms. So thank you all for sending them through. Why don't we address few from here and see if we can build on that with what comes through. How does
Perfect.
that sound? Yeah? Beautiful. So what sounds good to you, Mike?
All right. Well, I have a question that came through. It says, what is the best place to start investing spare cash and business profits for beginners? So this is a great question, and it's on the investing side of things. I do want to take a step back and just share with people that I teach a 7-step program where I get you to have $1,000 as a starter emergency fund. And then step 2 is to pay off all of your debt except for your mortgage if you have a home mortgage. And then step 3 is to go back to the $1,000 start emergency fund and fully fund that to 3 to 6 months of your expenses, of your household expenses. Those are done in order. That's why they're named 1, 2, and 3. And then only after you've completed all 3 of those do you need to go to step 4, which is investing. And that is 15% recommended on me. 15% of your household income goes into investing. Now, this is where this question comes in, and to start investing that spare cash in business profits. So if you have debt, by all means, do that. Pay it all off. Because once you don't have those payments, this spare cash and all the business profits increase. And most of us, I'm a small business owners, we are not playing at a level of personal debt and business debt. It's all personal. You sign the loan. If you have business debt, it's yours. If your business goes under, the bank or whoever the loan's with is coming for you. So know that. So first, that's where all the spare stuff should go. Get rid of that. Now, for beginners, just dip your toe in the water, right? Try new things. Me, I invest in 2 different things: mutual funds and real estate. I've since 2017, I've been real estate free. I've sold those pieces of property that I've had as rental properties, and I'm only invested in mutual funds. That's where I do. It's an example of a mutual fund would be like the S&P 500 or the ASX 200. That would be a type of mutual fund. I'm happy to go into details there if you want. And whoever asked this question, please reach out, or if you're listening, and we can dive into those details. But just get started and start with small numbers, right? So I remember I got started with, and I don't even know if it was $100, honestly. And just understanding that and think, I started investing. I started something. And then the next month could have been 20 more bucks or 50 bucks, whatever those are. So start small, and the 10-year older self of you will thank you for starting. Because once you get started, you're like, I wish I would have started 10 years prior. But you have to start before you understand. You have to get experience. You have to get experience in things. So for me, real estate, mutual funds, that's what I invest in. If there's something else that you feel confident in investing in, then try it and do it with small amounts of money. If that is oil or single stocks or cryptocurrencies, all these things, but start small because you don't know what you don't know.
And that's something you can help people with, right? You help them to address and look into certain strategies that might be suitable to their interests and what they are able to do.
I do. And the biggest thing that I tell anyone when it comes to investing, if you cannot explain it to your kids, then you do not need to be investing in it. If you can't teach someone else about it, don't invest in it. Never invest in something you don't understand, because that's where you lose.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And speaking of investments, and I'm going to be totally biased here, I think investing into working with you, Mike, was one of the best investments of my life, because now I feel I'm in control, and I know what I'm doing, as opposed to just, where does the money go? So yeah, I really feel that from the bottom of my heart, and I hope many of you on this call can get inspired and reach out and talk to this beautiful man.
Thank you.
That's his wisdom. Cool. Do we have any questions from you guys, or should we still keep rolling from the sheets that's been already sent in? No. Okie dokie. So if I was to, who do we have here? Kerry, you had a question here. How do I stay tuned into self-love, soul, and authenticity, into of being in my head and ego? Doing the work, right? Grounding every morning. How do you start your day? What's your morning rituals? You wake up with gratitude, feeling grateful for who you are, where you are, who are you with? Do you get up 10 minutes earlier before the whole household gets up and spend time exercising or meditating or getting your journal out and writing for 5-10 minutes? We talked about that before. What are your thoughts? What do you feed your emotional body? It's all connected. Often, just what we did at the very beginning, we took few deep, beautiful breaths to get us grounded, to get the energy going, shifting. That's all little tips on how to get out of the ego, get out of the head, connect to the heart. Again, something we covered at the beginning of the video. If you are coming late, maybe watch the replay. Opening up the heart, being connected here. Did you guys know that the energy of the heart is 5,000 times more powerful and stronger than our brain? You know that? 5,000 times. It's pretty awesome, right? So managing our lives from here, that's priceless. Yeah. So Kerry, if you want any more specific tips, please get in touch. I can see there is a little little chat going on. Get in touch and we can make a custom made, you know, morning ritual. So that's something I'm gonna be sharing with you. So if you subscribe to our newsletter, more people coming in. Watch out, there will be a few more little tips and tricks like that to share. Any questions from you, Mike? Shall we answer a few more? Welcome, whoever's just joined us.
Yeah, let's. I want to address this question here. Living week to week financially is very common in this current COVID environment, including myself. Any tips for short and long-term financial security would be helpful. So I want to first say that living week to week is not just started because of COVID. People have been doing this for decades. COVID may have exposed you or someone else. It's done a number of things. Like, for example, for me and my clients, this last 12 months have been amazing because people have actually woken up, especially in Australia, because it's an entire generation that actually hasn't seen a downturn. Entire generation over nearly 30 years, and Australia hasn't actually felt a downturn. You know, we got GFC, different industries are different, but I was in America for the GFC. You felt that, you saw that. Here, my understanding from the people that I understand is you haven't felt it, right? So I just want to start with that, is living paycheck to paycheck isn't something new. Actually, 78% of people are doing that today. So just think about that. People in this room or your friends, 4 out of 5 of us are living paycheck to paycheck. 4 out of 5 people that you see on the street are living paycheck to paycheck. It's a very, very scary thing. When you learn that number, it causes me to want to do more, because I want people to reduce. I want to reduce that number, because I remember when I got started, it was actually 7 out of 10 people. So it's increased from 7 out of 10 to 8 out of 10 people. And I want to slow that down, if not reverse it. So that's why I do what I do. Now, for any tips for short and long-term financial security, is what I just touched on. If you make a decision, if you make the decision today that you'll never go back into debt, eventually, even with minimum payments, you're going to get out. But you have to make the decision to never go back in. And you can hear it in my voice. You can see it in my eyes. If you're watching me, I can promise you, I am never going back into debt, because I've been there and I know what it feels like. I've lost sleep. I've ruined relationships. I'm never going back there again. I made a decision, and you have to make a decision. It has to be back to needs versus wants. Me, I want abundance. I want that. That eventually may become a need, but I wanted that. And the first thing I had to do was short-term, stop going backwards, stop going back into more debt, then get out of debt. So those are the best things that you can do. Out of all the reading and all the research that I've read, the number one way that people become wealthy, the first generation millionaires in the world, is they got out of debt and they stayed out of debt. I harp on this all the time. You got to do that. Now, if that doesn't answer your question, whoever that was, or if someone wants to expand on that question into more details, please type in the chat or raise your hand or anything like that. But that's the best thing. The best tip I can give you for financial security is to get out of debt forever. I told you earlier today, my needs, or not even my needs, my wants, my lifestyle today is $20,000 a year. Will that increase in the future? Most likely. But today it's $20,000 a year. I get to do any and everything I want to do. But the reason I'm able to do that is because I have zero debt. When I look at my bank statement, I have 5 transactions on average per month. It's one page. It's one page. If you were to print it off, I don't have printed bank statements anymore, but if you were to print that off, it's on one page. I've had clients, it looked like an encyclopedia. Everything's tapped 4 times a day. Tap, tap, tap. All these things. Money's here, moving. Simplify it. It's energy, right? That's what Pavla touches on. It's energy. simplify this. Getting out of debt simplifies it. It reduces the payments. It reduces the money that you have to pay outgoing. And when you reduce your outgoing, you increase your incoming. Even though your salary or your income hasn't changed, you feel like you got a raise because you stopped sending your money to debt.
Beautiful.
I hope that was clear.
Thank you for that, Mike. I just love your passion, right? Whenever Mike gets fired up, you know, he's speaking from his heart. It's really beautiful. And you are living it too. Fee's got a question. That was your question. Okay. Did you wanted to add anything else or ask anything else, Fee? No? Did Mike answer everything?
So yeah, I just wanted to say, yeah, thanks for answering that. It's just put a really different scope on how I, portrayed that whole living from paycheck to paycheck. And I think, it has been ingrained in me for a very long time to be living like that. I guess I just want to share with you, that. Thanks. Thanks for that different perspective.
Yeah, thank you, Fee. And I do, I know it's marketed everywhere. Everyone is selling debt. I mean, some of the store clerks, I don't know around here, but like if they're actually not salespeople, they're only there to sell you a credit card, the store credit cards. And if they don't get enough credit card sales, then they actually lose their job. And that's shit. At least in America, probably not in Australia. It's too hard to get fired in this country, but in America, it's pretty easy to do that. But yeah, I understand. I was programmed that way as well. I like to use the word program. My parents, my mom, I talked about my parents before. My mom at one point had 25 credit cards. Unbelievable. That's a mission in itself, trying to get her to get rid of those, but at least there's no payments on them anymore.
To carry around with 25 credit cards. That is a really
you can mute those other people, Pavla. You have that ability.
I've got a question. That's why I unmuted myself.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Tiffy. Go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted you to, Mike, could you please expand more on the mutual funds and how people can start with them?
Yes, perfect. So a mutual fund is a quick definition of one fund will comprise of 70 to 200 or more companies. For example, let's do ASX 200, the top 200 companies in Australia. Now you can buy one fund, let's just name it ABC. I'm going to go put my money in this ABC fund. And then if you want to send through and you want to put some money in that same fund, then we have mutually funded that fund. And then it's managed by a manager, and they choose those companies. So that's either 70 to 200 companies at different percentages. So let's say you put in $100, then that is separated or diversified into all those different companies. Does that make more sense, Iffy?
Yes, it does. What I wanted to know was how can one start with them? And you said earlier that you started with like $100. The thing I'm aware of is that sometimes these people charge like management fees or something. Would it be worth it starting with a small amount? And what's the growth rate like?
Great question. So a brokerage house or a trading platform, if it's an app or a company, whoever that is, whoever you find, you're right, there's trading fees. I personally use Vanguard both in America and in Australia. So I use Vanguard as my brokerage house. My experience, they're the lowest fees until you get to certain amounts, $15,000 or more, right? So for me, the lowest fees, they're actually 0 in America and 0.04% in Australia from memory on some of these funds. So yes, there's going to be a fee at some level. You have to be comfortable with that. So you mentioned $100, and if you go with a platform that charges $9.50, you've already spent nearly 10% on that money in fees. And that's not what it's about. So I'd rather pay 0.04% of that fund, such as Vanguard. Now, in saying that, Vanguard does have minimums. The minimum is $5,000 in Australia, and the minimum is $3,000 in the US. So to buy into that fund that I talked about, ABC, you buy that fund from Vanguard with that minimum, then you can do $100 or $20 or $50, whatever that reoccurring payment is, but to buy in is that amount. And the reason for that is because it needs to be worthwhile for them to manage that money, right? There's costs with the internet and the website maintenance and to set up an account and all these things. So yeah, you do have to pay for some things somewhere. And to touch on your question of what to expect for return, I look for a long-term track record of 10%. And I'll give you an example. I have a fund from 1956, and that has performed over 10% on average every year since 1956. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
And then again, back to what I said before of investing what you understand. I've had conversations where people understand it, but they understand that they don't want to invest in oil companies. They only want to invest in sustainability and green energy and stuff like that. Perfect. Find a fund that does the same thing. Right? We want to do those things. You want to understand what you're investing in, but I'm looking for a long track record of at least 10% is what I go for. And look, if you only get 8%, that's better than 0. And you don't know, and you don't know. You don't know until you try. So for me, I had to get started. And in the beginning, man, it's slow. I can tell you, it is slow. You start with $5,000. At 10%, you're only making $500 a year. Right? That takes a long time for that 5,000 to become 10,000. But once you get to 100,000, then you're looking at $10,000 a year at 10% return. Then you get to $1 million. That's $100,000 a year at 10% return. Then the numbers just start going exponentially growing. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But just get started.
Yeah, but there's also the risk of, the price is going down. And the risk of, is there a high risk of losing your money in mutual funds? Especially if you go into like the ones, I don't know this particular one you're talking about, but is it a high risk mutual fund, or do they go into, are they conservative? And is it a guaranteed income, or are you looking at just whatever happens and above, or is it possible that it will actually crash someday or something like that?
Yeah, and we have to be careful with the words we use. So what I invest in, let's do the ASX 200 again, but in Australia. So crash to me is different than the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs of the market. And the reason that is because I do know the market goes up and the market goes down. We all saw that last March. It was at a high and went down to a low. And guess what today is? It's at another high, both in Australia and in the US, around the world. Markets are performing. It was a roller coaster to get there. Now, I wouldn't term that as a crash. Actually, I don't even use the word crash because I don't believe that Australia as a whole is going to fold as an economy. I don't believe the US is going to fold as an economy. And even if we had millions of dollars in the stock market and shit just disappears, stock market goes, it just disappears. Your dollars aren't worth anything anyway. You need to worry about water and canned food, right? Like that's what you got to go. So you got to think about what Pavla said about the thoughts that you put into your head. I'll go back to the example of what I looked at in this fund from 1956. That's what, 70 years. So for 70 years, on average, they've given me 10%. It's not a guarantee every year, but last 1 year could be down 20%, negative 20%. It could go down. Then the next year comes back 10, and then 10, and then 1 year it's going to go up to 30% return, right? And then it'll come back down to 2% return. So it's an ebb and flow. Think of it as a roller coaster. A roller coaster goes up and down, up and down. But the only person that gets hurt on a roller coaster are those that jump off. So when you feel your thoughts, or you believe that there's a crash, or you watch too much news, please do not get your financial advice from the news channel. Turn it off. But if you see and think this is a crash and you take your money out, that's when you get hurt. Because the people that sold or got scared in March of 2020, they went from a 30,000 Dow down to a 22,000 Dow, and now it's up above 30 again. But they sold down here at the bottom because they were scared. And now if they want to get back in, they got to go back up here and purchase what their dollars were. Right? So they've lost out on that 30% gain over the last 12 months. Good. Good thought.
Does this also apply?
Mike.
Oh,
I
does
just
this
said
also,
thank you.
sorry. Yeah. So Mike, I got a question. Does this also apply with crypto and Forex as well? Like crypto, I'm seeing crashing. Does the same principle apply as well with that, or is it a bit different?
That's a great question. So my opinion on crypto is that is an emotional thing, meaning there's no economic value in crypto in how my understanding, right? I don't understand as much as a lot of people out there about that, but I just don't see it producing anything, right? There's no goods, there's no service, there's not a company that sells things, there's nothing other than the fear, right? I think that's why we see the highs and the low lows, because people get, oh, this is great, and then it gets really low because people get scared. So I see it as it's all based on a fear basis, and I don't invest in it. Also, another thing is there's no track record. This is really new stuff. Could it be something later? It could be. But I see it as, I would relate it to the dot-com boom. I'm not sure if anyone remembers that, but in 2000, then all of these investments, all these internet companies, is brand new, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I'm riding this wave. And nobody was producing value, right? Was the internet a thing? Yes. Look, we're connecting right now around the world so easily. Video, boom, boom, boom. You hear my voice, you see my voice. But what about that company and this company and that company? Like the cryptos, is this and there's so many options out there. Is cryptocurrency going to be something? Maybe, but is the company that we hear about today going to be here in next year, next week? I don't know. I'm not here to guess that. But I would take my view is not that it's to cryptocurrency, it's the step back above, which is the blockchain. Man, my research, blockchain is on it. But blockchain is not cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency uses blockchain. Now, blockchain, I think, is going to be massive. Cryptocurrency, I'm not sold. I'm a person that uses cash. I don't even like using tap. I don't have it connected to my phone or anything, but that's me. So hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome. Unmute yourself, Pavla. Can't hear you.
Yay, she starts again. I was just asking, would any of you newcomers like to share your questions, your insights, anything? There was quite a few of you that jumped in a little bit later. So if you guys have any questions, it's a perfect time to jump in and ask. No. Okay. How are you all feeling? Have you had enough? Is there more you are ready for? We are at the hour mark now. Would you like to keep going with the questions we've got from here, from your questionnaires, or how are we feeling? It would be great to see your beautiful faces. Our friends, Kylie. That's all good. It's noisy on Kylie's end. You are super mama. Kylie is a mom to 3 beautiful children, homeschooling on her own, running incredible successful business. Like, oh man, you and has time to listen and join us as well. So yay. Thank you. So shall we do one more question each, and then see where it takes us from there? How does that feel, guys? Yeah, don't wanna overkill it here, but hopefully you are getting some value, and there's some good takeaways for us all to take home at the end of the day. There's a question here that just jumped on me. How can I allow myself to receive more money with ease? How can you allow yourself? How? Just that language alone. And if you think about it, it's pretty deep. It's pretty deep. Why would we not allow ourselves? And then we go back down the rabbit hole. Why? You are not good enough. You don't deserve this. You don't work hard enough. All these little shitty voices that we maybe heard as kids growing up. And the amount of people I work with, especially women, for some reason, don't ask me. Well, actually, I have a theory on that too, but especially women don't feel that they are worthy of having even like time for themselves, you know, little things. They are worthy of love, abundance, money, beautiful, loving relationships, time. My God, how many women, mothers do you know? They're always the last ones in the food chain. We don't believe we deserve. And that's something that needs to change in our worlds. And if we look thousands of years, we've been living in this patriarchal world, top heavy, masculine energy, forcing, demanding, pushing. And now with this magical golden age that we've just entered in January, you know, the energies are balancing. So we'll see a lot of that push and shove falling away, and we will be seeing more flow and creativity and just allowing. And that's the feminine energy that has been, what's the word, suppressed for centuries, 26,000 years actually. It's been suppressed. And it's time for us to start embracing it, start healing the feminine within ourselves. And no matter if you are a man or a woman, we need to have both in beautiful balance and harmony. And having it all in life, having abundance in every single area of your life, is that exactly that. Having that balance, having the harmony, having everything, the channel nice and open, that's what will bring abundance in the relationship, in money, in our career, knowing our purpose, all of that. So we can allow ourselves, because if we don't allow ourselves, who else will? Who else will? Taking the responsibility, as we talked about before, choosing to know that you are deserving and not waiting for anybody else to do it on your behalf, because that time might never come. And before we know it, this lifetime is gone.
And I'm glad that you chose that question, because that one popped out to me as well. And that's something that I wanted to share my story on, of allowing to receive more money and how it happened for me. It was, I don't know, years ago. And what I was doing in my former career as an electrical engineer, I was making decent money and all this. But when I had money coming in, I was going, it's mine, just keeping it, closed fists. But it wasn't until I opened it, both sides, on the receiving and the giving, and let it flow. It wasn't until then that the abundance, the joys of allowing this hand to be open to receive more and allowing this one to give more. But so instead of going and living life like this, open up and have that flow of money, the flow of love. Like if you want to relate it to love, you got to love yourself before you love someone else. Right? Just let that flow.
Beautiful. 100%. That's the universal laws, yeah? Expansion, contraction. We give, we receive. And I feel we need to relearn. We need to relearn the receiving part. And I would love to challenge every single one of you, as soon as you hop off this computer thing, how can you say yes to at least 3 things before you go to bed today? How can you say yes to receiving, to accepting? Whatever it is, hug from your kids, cup of tea from your partner, foot massage from whoever is around, whatever it is. Yeah, at least 3 things, and hop on the socials and let us know. That would be a really beautiful thing. Start receiving, and as Mike said, the giving part, it's so important, the contribution to others, because it always comes back multiplied. So much more. Mike, is there any other question you would like to answer, or are we going?
I think I'm going to piggyback off of that, of your 3 things of what you can receive tonight. Just sit with your wants versus needs and what is enough for you individuals, because what's enough for me is going to be different for Pavla. It's going to be different for Amanda, Pete. Everyone has different definitions. So we need to define that. You can go to bed and think about it, but I do encourage you at some point, write those down. And what does it mean to you?
Beautiful.
Thank you, everyone that showed up. It blew me out my expectations. I love it. I love seeing faces and the questions that came through. The chat box that's going on. I really, really appreciate everyone that's done. And I trust that today has given you some wisdom to move forward and action steps to take as well for this new moon today.
Beautiful. Oh, thank you, Amanda. Love it, love it, love it. Guys, new moon. So speaking of energy, if you want to do one thing for yourself today, and today it's also the eclipse, the firing around the moon that you will see. That's piggybacking of the red moon that we had, the full moon we had a few weeks back. Extremely powerful for manifestation. So be very clear and very specific of what you want to attract into your life, and write it down, visualize it, live it, feel it. That's like, just get into that beautiful vortex and just watch it happen. One more thing I would love to share with you. There is going to be huge karmic clearing for the feminine, divine feminine energy from the 13th to the 16th of what are we now, June. And I'm going to hold a group guided meditation to just help the process. As I said, we all have the feminine within ourselves, and this is a very powerful time. If we are looking what's happening with our Mother Earth as well, what's happening all around us, it's a very powerful time to bring the energies from across the world. That's why we have this funny time. And there's a lot of people I know in Australia that it clashed with school pickups and stuff. So we will play with that. Please give us feedback later as well. But what I'm trying to say, we are going to run guided meditation on clearing and healing the divine masculine, and I would love to invite you to join me. It's going to be Sunday afternoon. I'm thinking 3 o'clock. This same time, so we can connect the US and Europe as well. And I just always have this image of lighting up the planet and rubbing it in a big bubble of love from every corner we tune out from. So tune in from. Let me know if you're interested. I will be sharing newsletters with details, and that would be beautiful to have you on board. For now, it has been a pleasure and honor to be sharing this beautiful space with you all. Thank you, Mike, for your incredible insights. We will be back next new moon, whatever it is.
Yep, that's 28 days from now, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be the 10th of July. But you'll see us again on socials and that kind of thing. And to piggyback off of Pavla's gift, I would love to share with everyone that's on the call. If you want a 30-minute free call with me, I'll put the link in the chat there, and you can just schedule a free discovery call with me, and I'd love to connect with you one-on-one again as well. And that will be included in newsletters. And thank you all. I love everyone that showed up. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, everyone. We will see you around. And yeah, look after yourself. And I can't wait to hear your takeaways, your shares. And don't forget to just open up and receive, because you are worth it. And I allow you all to live the best life ever. Yay! Lots of love. Thank you.